to Dog with a Bone podcast, Unleashed bonus episodes. These episodes are for you to listen while I work hard on Season 2. For those who have not already listened to Season 1, you can find my investigation into the unsolved murder of John Bernie Burnside on Spotify or wherever you listen. All 10 episodes are available to you right now. Welcome to the last bonus episode of Unleashed. If you already didn't know, I created a Dog with a Bone discussion group page. This page is where you can connect with others in the dog pound to discuss Season 1 or any of the Unleashed episodes. You'll want to join the discussion group for Season 2. I can promise you that. The case I'm going to talk about today is from, you guessed it, Parkersburg, West Virginia. The case is on Kimberly Sue Jones. I decided to cover Kim's case after I received numerous requests to take a look at her case for Season 2. Kim is a missing persons case, and to be honest, I'm not positive that that's my niche. I believe everyone has their strengths in regards to investigations. For example, James Basinger from the Hide and Seek podcast is very good at missing person cases. But I learn a lot from him, so you never know what the future might hold. I had received multiple requests from one Parkersburg resident in particular, and that's Erica Longwell. Erica has a passion for true crime and helping bring awareness to people who are missing or murdered in Parkersburg. I first met Erica during my time on Judy's case. She quickly became someone I could reach out to for help and connecting me with others in Parkersburg. When I started Dog with a Bone, Erica followed me right on over there, and she has been a huge supporter of mine ever since. When she had asked me to take a look at Kim's case, well, I couldn't tell her no. So I took a look at it and said, well, this wouldn't be my Season 2, but I would be more than happy to cover it as an Unleashed episode. Erica and I then connected, and she provided me basic information on the case that she has uncovered, and this was a huge help. So it's time to dig into the case of Kimberly Sue Jones. Kim was 25 years old when she went missing from Parkersburg, West Virginia. She went missing on February 3rd, 2009. Kim was about 5'2" in height and weighed 110 pounds to 115 pounds. Now, I say was if you caught that, because it's more likely than not that Kim is dead. And I'll explain more why later on. Kim was last seen by her ex, whose name is Jack, and he reported that he dropped her off back at her apartment after spending the day together. Kim and Jack had a child together, and she was 6 years old at this time. Kim recently moved into a new apartment only a few months before she went missing, and she was so excited to finally have her own place. But on the day that she went missing, on February 3rd, Kim was seen leaving her apartment around 11 a.m. with Jack, remember who is her ex, and Jack's new wife, April. People saw them downtown Parkersburg together that day. Kim was at the Consumer Credit in Parkersburg trying to cash a check. Kim's dad had recently passed away, and she had a pension death check worth about $1,400. Kim went into the Consumer Credit to ask about cashing the check. She was told that to cash the check, she would have to open up an account first and do some other things for that to happen. The thing is, that check has never been cashed. I talked to a few people who said that leading up to this day that Kim went missing, and she was not in distress. She didn't seem scared. She didn't seem frightened. She didn't seem like something was wrong. If anything, it was the opposite. Everything seemed fine and normal to those around her. Kim was saving money for a license, and then she wanted to buy a cheap car. But on the day that Kim went missing, one person I talked to said that Kim had told Jack that there was some stranger that kept coming to her door And it was at this point that Jack and April had decided to let her come over for dinner and a movie. But we know they were together much earlier than a dinner and a movie, since people saw them downtown Parkersburg together that afternoon. It was around 10:30 p.m. that April recalls that Jack left to take Kim home. April says, "Hey, I fell asleep and I have no idea of when Jack returned." Jack recalls that he dropped Kim off and he just kept driving. He did not wait to see if she made it inside her apartment. When Kim went missing, she had nothing but what she was wearing. Investigators believe Kim never made it inside her apartment. So a couple of things to know about this. Where Jack dropped Kim off is about 20 feet or so from her apartment. If that's true, that means that Kim never made it into her apartment and someone intercepted her within that 20 feet. That's a very short distance. When we look at different persons of interest in Kim's disappearance, we have one guy named Tim who was from Marietta, Ohio, who Kim had recently broken up with. He did have some violence in his past. Unfortunately, he is now deceased, but he did take a lie detector test in 2009, and I'm told he passed it. We have to take a look at Jack because we always have to look at the significant other. Jack is the father of Kim's baby, and Jack wanted full custody of their daughter. And I am told that he was very verbally abusive and would make threats regarding wanting to have custody of their daughter. Kim and Jack had an upcoming court date in March of 2009. Kim, as I mentioned, had full custody and Jack got weekend visits. He also had to pay child support. I am told he paid around $120 a month. Now, did all of your red flags just go up? How many times do we hear about women missing or murdered before a court date regarding custody or having to pay child support, right? Flag, flag, flag. So only a month before this court date, Kim goes missing? But let me give you a little backstory about Jack and April. Jack and April have known each other for a very, very long time. I'm told that in 1997, Jack was already talking and visiting with April many times while he was with Kim. Kim was pregnant at this time, and she told somebody that while they were living together, he would step out and go up to Dayton, Ohio to spend time with April. Sounds like a great guy. On many occasions, people who knew Kim and Jack reported that Jack wanted April to be the mom of their child and would tell people this. And Kim, he would let people know, "Hey, I want April to be the mom of our daughter. I don't want Kim to be the mom. I'm with April and I want her to raise our child." Excuse me? Okay, dude, that just bothers me right there. So when Kim went missing, who ended up raising their daughter? April and Jack. Shocker. When Kim went missing and investigators tried to interview Jack, I'm told he spit in their face and he got really angry and mad. And who ended up getting Jack a lawyer? Well, that would be April's parents. April's parents paid for a lawyer for Jack. The other thing to know is April's parents have a huge property out there in Parkersburg. You know, everyone has huge properties out there in Parkersburg and Waverly. And I am told that they have never allowed investigators to search their property, which I have to wonder why. If this cloud of doubt is around you and your family again, and you have this huge property, why won't you let law enforcement come search your property with dogs? Get the questions off of you if you have nothing to do with that. If Kim is not on your property, then why not let law enforcement search it? Why wouldn't you want to try to help find Kim, who is the mother of your granddaughter, unless you have a reason not to help? The other questions and concerns that I have about Jack and April's accounts, and I have many of them, let me tell you. One of the big things for me is this. It was only a 12-minute drive from April and Jack's home to Kim's apartment. That's what, a 24-minute round trip that he was gone? And during those 24 minutes, April says, "Hey, I was knocked out. The child was asleep. I have no idea of when Jack came home." I call BS. I mean, how many of you can go to sleep in 24 minutes and not even hear when someone comes home? Sure, I might be dozing off. I might be starting to fall asleep, but I'm in no deep sleep. And heck, what's April's secret if she can do that? I would hear someone come in through the door. It's not like I would be in a deep sleep and I wouldn't hear when someone comes home. She claims she has no idea when he came home. I don't buy it. And the biggest red flag, if there's a bigger red flag than that, it's this one. Are you ready for it? When Kim left to go to her apartment, she did not have her daughter. Did y'all just gasp with me? So listen to this. Here's my issue with that. The next day is a school night. Their daughter went to school where Kim lived. Why would Jack and Kim not have their daughter in that car to go home with Kim that night? Why did Kim leave her daughter at Jack and April's? Let's say the daughter says, "Oh, I want to sleep here," or she falls asleep and Kim says, "Fine, if you can bring her to school tomorrow, I'll pick her up." Okay. We'll go with that. But the big red flag for me is nobody called to say the next day when school ended, "Hey, the kid is still here. Hello, who's coming to get your daughter?" When you don't come get your child at school, the school calls you. So there would be no reason for Jack or April to think that Kim wouldn't have been there to pick up their daughter unless they knew she wasn't going to pick her up. You follow me here? So they have their daughter. The school is by Kim's. They're going to take her to school. And then Kim would obviously pick up her daughter. Kim was reported 5 days after she went missing. So for those 5 days, who was taking their daughter to school and picking her up without any notification from the school? That's a big issue for me. This really bothered me that I reached out to a few people. How did Kim take her daughter to school and pick her up if she didn't have a vehicle? So if Jack and April dropped her off, how would she end up picking their daughter back up, or how did she do that? So Kim had arranged with somebody else, a friend who would help take their daughter to school and back. But this person tells me, "Oh, no, their daughter never went back to that school." So after Kim went missing, she never went back to school, but I don't even know if she was in school during that period. And then they homeschooled her. But again, why was she not in school? Because Kim would have said, "Hey, where's our daughter? Why is she not in school today? I went to go pick her up, right? And where is she?" Or if they took her to school, Kim would have been there to pick her up. But none of that happened. So huge red flag to me. There is a reason why this didn't happen either way. Okay, I'll stop on that point because I could go on and on for that. Because to me, that's a huge issue right there. Something changed. Something changed in their behavior. Something changed with Jack and April that they didn't take their daughter to school because they knew Kim wouldn't be there to pick her up. Or they ended up not taking her to school, which again is another issue, is because Kim would have called and said, "Where's my daughter?" And when she didn't do that, why is my daughter not at school? Why wouldn't they have called or figure out where Kim is? See, I said I was going to be done, and then I keep going on that point. On to my other points here. This is another huge red flag. Is everyone ready for this? This case, red flag, red flag. I don't understand. I don't understand, this whole situation and why we still don't have answers. Well, actually, I do. Guess what Jack says happened to Kim? I'll wait. Everyone just say what I think you're going to say. He says that Kim ran off with another man. Shocker. How many times have we heard this, right? Oh, she went with another man. She went with her boyfriend and she ran off. This is so ridiculous. There is no indication that Kim was leaving. She had every intention of coming back to that apartment. She had a court date the next month that she was going to. And also, she was planning to get her license and a car. She was saving money. That check that she was going to cash has never been cashed. If she ran off, she would cash that. That's $1,400. Bonkers to me. Bonkers. The last thing I want to mention about Jack and April is Kim has a twin sister. I am told that Jack gave a photo of Kim's twin sister to their daughter and said, "This is your mom." Excuse me? Why would you need to give a photo of Kim's twin sister to your daughter if you're claiming that she ran off with another man? How do you know she won't be back tomorrow? How do you know she won't be back in a week? And now you have given her a photo of the twin sister and said, "Oh, this is your mom." Why do you feel like you need to do that? Unless you already know she's not coming back. So I'll move off Jack and April, but I really don't want to, but I have to keep moving on. Let me actually tell you a little bit more about the day that Kim was reported missing. Kim was missing for 5 days, and it was her mom who called in after 5 days because she wasn't hearing from her daughter. Kim is 25 years old, and as a mom, you kind of give them a couple of days, some space. She's thinking it's a little weird because they talk all the time, but you never want to raise the flag too early that something's wrong. But after 5 days is when she said, "I have not been able to reach my daughter, and I'm going to call authorities." This is where I'm going to pivot. We're going to talk about another individual, and his name is Kurt. He is a family friend, and from what I understand, there was some discrepancy in the investigation where the detectives might have thought that Kurt was a neighbor who lived near Kim, but that's not true. He was actually a long-term family friend. And the one thing to know about Kurt is that he had a key to Kim's apartment. He was the one who unlocked the door for the police to let them in. Kim and Kurt worked together at the union, and Kim would get rides from him from time to time. But again, more importantly, he had a key to her apartment. My concern with Kurt is that he met Kim when she was around 5 years old. And how old was Kurt at that time? He was in his late 30s to early 40s. So when she was younger, she would go over to his house and he would have picnics and play the guitar for her. Is anyone else getting gross spidey senses? Can you say grooming? Yeah. And I guess it worked because when Kim turned 18 years old, she had sex or attempted to have sex with Kurt, but he wasn't able to perform. So it was at that point that Kim was like, "Hey, we can just be friends. It's okay. No big deal." And they moved on with their friendship. He had asked Kim for her and her daughter to move in with him, but Kim had said, no, Jack wouldn't like that. So they decided to move forward with their friendship, it seems like, over the years. So besides the red flag of the grooming issue, the night that Kim went missing, Kim and Kurt were scheduled to watch CSI together that night, but she was out with Jack. So he told investigators that, "I drove over to her apartment, but I didn't stop. I just went back home." And my question would be why? When you look at how far Kurt lived from Kim's apartment, it was about a 20-minute drive one way. So you're telling me that you drove 20 minutes to Kim's apartment and you didn't get out of the car to see if she was there, knock on the door? Kim had no car and no cell phone, so how would he know if she was home or not? I don't believe that you would drive 20 minutes one way, circle the parking lot, and then leave for shits and giggles. I don't think that's true. I think that two things happened here, and probably both of them. I don't know. I think he did show up. I think he parked and he either waited in the parking lot for her and saw her get out with Jack, if that even happened, which I have to say, I don't think so. But okay. And then he went into her apartment and waited for her in there, and she never showed up. And that's really what I think is most likely. I think that he went to her house. He used the key to get in. He was waiting for her to watch the show. She never showed up. So he left. But now she's missing. So he's not going to tell the investigators, yeah, I went into her apartment, because that raises suspicion on him. The other possibility I don't think is true, because investigators do not believe that she even made it into her apartment, is that he was waiting for her. She came home. He saw her get out of the car with Jack, and then he was jealous. He became irate. I've been here waiting for you. What are you doing with him? And all of those things. It's possible, but to me, I think more unlikely. The last person we need to always look at is this idea of a stranger that Kim was talking about coming to her door. That seems less likely to me, because if Jack drops her off like he said he did, and she had 20 feet to walk to get to her apartment, I don't think someone could have intercepted her in those 20 feet and not have her scream and make a fuss, right? Or yell out, or Jack see in the rearview mirror something going down. The only other option could be that she wouldn't scream and make a fuss if it was somebody she knew, like Kurt, who was waiting in her apartment or waiting in the parking lot, and then she went with him because he's not a stranger, so she wouldn't have been screaming out. But again, I think that's a low possibility. I just don't see that happening. And I don't know if Kurt has ever been interviewed. I don't know if he's ever taken a lie detector test. I don't know any of that. I really don't think that Kim ever made it back to her apartment. The sad part here for me is that Kim has been missing for 16 years. 16 years with no contact to her daughter or her family. I do believe, based on everything I've learned about Kim and her love for her daughter and her family, she wouldn't just get up and leave with no trace. And if she did, she would have cashed that check. She would have needed that money. But she had no plans to leave. She had plans for the future. She left with no clothes, no personal items, nothing. When she got into that car at 11 a.m. with Jack and April, she had every intention of returning back to her apartment that night. Every intention. Until someone else changed that for her. I guarantee you there are people close to Kim, Jack, and April who know exactly what happened and where Kim's body is. I guarantee you. And I just can't understand why and how someone can wake up every morning knowing what they did and living with this horrific thing. How is that? How do you look at yourself in the mirror? I guess the only thing we can say is your time will come, and I can only hope someone will finally do the right thing. Clear your mind. It's never too late to do the right thing. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Kimberly Sue Jones, or you've heard anything as to what happened to her, please reach out to Parkersburg Police Department at 304-424-8440. You can also contact me if you feel more comfortable, and I will pass on your information. Well, that is the last Unleashed episode, and I just want to thank everyone again for listening to these bonus episodes, and I really can't wait for you to listen to Season 2 of Dog with a Bone. Bye.